everybody, welcome back to the shop and happy 4th of July. 250 years of this great country and I couldn't be happier. Just like Philadelphia in 1776, it is hot and humid right now. So we're going to have to do just like our founding fathers did and plow right through it. So today, since it's the 4th of July and it's the 250th birthday of our great country, I would like to go over some American-made tools. Now, I've got on this side of the table tools that were made in the United States that are no longer made in the United States, sadly. Over here, on this side of the table, are tools that are still made in the USA. So, I'm going to kind of go through some stuff, but before I do that, I just want to explain to you, if you don't know, hopefully you do, why it's important that we make tools in the United States. Now, I'm not saying that tools made elsewhere aren't as good or maybe even better than a lot of tools that are made in the United States. But if you'll remember, think back to the middle of the last century, there was a big event. It's called World War II. And the reason that we won World War II was because we made everything. We were able to outproduce the Germans and the Japanese. The Willow Run plant in Detroit, owned by Ford, was able to produce a B-24 Liberator bomber every 63 minutes. That's right. Every hour, on the hour, or plus 3 minutes, another 4-engine bomber made up of 1.5 million parts rolled off the assembly line, cranked up, and flew to Europe or the Pacific or wherever they were needed. But could we do that anymore? That's my concern. If you don't make tools and dies in your country, do you have the capacity to make anything? If you're dependent on other countries to be able to make things, are you truly free? So I'm not going to go too much further on that, but I just want you to think about that. We have to be a manufacturing economy if we want to maintain our freedom. There's just no two ways about it. So if you disagree with me, say something in the comments. If you do agree with me, say something in the comments. But don't forget to like and subscribe. Please subscribe. That helps the channel. That gives me, hopefully, one day will give me funds to buy more tools to talk about. Or maybe if I get enough, they'll send me the tools to talk about for free. I can only hope. But let's move on. So I'm going to start down on this side with the tools of the past that used to be made in the USA, and then we'll go forward. I'm going to get behind the camera, and we're going to move it up here and do a little bit of a close-up so that I can talk about them. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the flow of this video, but I have a quick editorial note. I was editing the video, and I noticed that a lot of my close-up shots were out of focus, so I went back and reshot them. And the reason I did that was it brought to mind a comment I got from a guy named Paul Brungart 9823. He said, this was about my Top Don battery tester video, 3 minutes of information in only 11 minutes and 12 seconds. Why does anyone care about how your day was going? Tester is out of focus, but your face is clear. Amateur hour. Well, Paul, I took your criticism to heart, and I went back and reshot a bunch of those things. And while I was at it, I thought, well, Paul's such a YouTube expert, why don't I check out his channel? So I went over to his channel. He's got 16 subscribers in 14 years and no videos, which makes 16 subscribers fairly impressive for having no videos. But that was such deep insight that some of my video was out of focus. I really appreciate it, Paul. So you've created a positive change in the world. And because of you, this video is better. I want to thank you. Happy 4th of July. Now back to the video. Okay, first we have these Stanley nut drivers. As you can see, it says, hopefully you can read that, it says USA right there. These are all, because they're old, they're all in imperial sizes. They go from 7/16 all the way down to 3/16. I think I have a quarter, don't I? Yeah, here's 1/4. But they go down to 3/16. I think they made these in other sizes, and I may have some more, but this is the set that I have together. Maybe one day I will find some more for this set, but it's a pretty cool set. And it was once made in the United States by Stanley. Unfortunately, no longer. Then I've got these ratcheting wrenches, 3/4, and I think this side is 5/8. I think I've talked about these before in another video. I don't know who makes them. It's got a code of RB2024 USA. I've looked it up. Some places say Williams, some places say Snap-on, some places say Wright, but there's an S. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can. It's an S with an underlined logo. I don't know if it'll focus that closely, but there's the logo. I've done a reverse image search on that logo. I can't seem to find it anywhere. Nobody knows what it is. Does not look like any Snap-on logo I've ever seen, so I'm not really sure who made that. But if you look for this patent number, or this model number, RB2024, that's the 5/8 3/4. Then these are, this is a 3/8 7/16. This is RB1214. Still not sure if you guys can see that. But the other one, this is an RB1618. I mean, they're cool, they're reversible. I mean, I don't use them, but they're just kind of cool to have. This one's a 6-point. The other two are both 12. No, that's a 6.2, but the bigger one is a 12-point. But like I said, I don't know who makes them, but I have found them. If you search by that model number, they're made by a bunch of different companies, and mostly no longer in the USA. But anyway, moving on. Everybody probably grew up with these acetate-handled Western Forge Craftsman screwdrivers. This one happens to be, the blue ones were always the Phillips. Here is, now that's a Husky, but it is a USA. Here's a Craftsman. The ones with the red were usually the flatheads. And then here's one from Great Neck. And then Husky also was made in the USA at one time. It's a 1/4 inch flathead. These are well known for their stench. For some reason, these acetate handles smell absolutely atrocious as they age. So a lot of people don't like them for that reason. Then moving on, these are the Craftsman Professional Series. So you can see, made in USA. I've got probably 19 or 20 of these screwdrivers, and some of them I've got duplicates. So somewhere along the way I picked up a couple extras. I did a whole video on those, so if you want to check that out. But those are no longer made in the USA. I think, yeah, these were made by Western Forge too. You can tell by the WF right there. But they look a lot like Snap-on screwdrivers. I think the Snap-ons with these same kind of handles are tri-lobe, but these have 4 sides, so just a little difference there. Then we move on to the ratchets. I've probably talked about this one before. This is a Husky 22202, made in USA. Don't know where I got it, just happen to have it. Then there's a Thorson 77C. This is a round head, 1/2 inch drive. Not my favorite type of ratchet, but it is made in USA and I like having it. Oh, while I'm talking about these, here is another one, a very similar type ratcheting wrench, but it is not reversible, but it is a Craftsman, made in USA. All right. We all know about the ratchets. This one is the 44809. These were all the made in USA. These were kind of like towards the latter run of the made in USA ratchets. These are the ones with the plastic switch. A lot of people don't like those. But moving on. So then I have the Craftsman adjustable wrench, 8-inch. This is a 44603. I have several of these. I've got them in all different sizes, I think from 4-inch all the way up to 12-inch, I believe. I'm not positive on that, but I've got a drawer full of them, and they're all in pretty good shape. Then of course we have the combination wrenches. See if I can zoom out a little bit there. Yeah, these, I have several sets of these. These are the V upside down V, forged in USA by Danaher, probably mid to late 90s. I did a pretty cool video on this Cobalt socket set. Which I didn't know when I started the video is all these are made in USA, and I happen to have the whole set, so that's pretty cool. This is a 22800, and I'm trying to see where it's, yeah, it says USA right there underneath Cobalt. So that's pretty cool. But those are all, and I have tons of other made in USA tools. I have Craftsman sockets, and well, while I'm over here, you even have this, and I haven't done the video on this one yet, but it's coming. This is a Craftsman 1/2-inch reversible drill, and I don't know if you can tell or if you can even read it, but it was manufactured, I thought it said on here, yeah, it's very hard to read, but right there it says 11 of 62. So Kennedy was president. Manufactured right at the tail end of the Cuban Missile Crisis. So let's move on down the line here. Of course, we know what that is. Probably the most iconic American-made thing in the world. And it even says made in the USA right on it. That's why I have that one. It's pretty cool. That's a Zippo, of course, made in Bradford, Pennsylvania to this day. Then, I was in the Army, but I do have a K-bar. This was not issued to me. This is just a collectible. But K-bar is made in Olean, New York. So, this one is still available. You can still get them. Now, this next one here, I've got a couple of Crescent adjustable. They say made in USA on them. I've kind of Googled it, and Google kind of gives you, like most AI things, or it gives you conflicting information. It says some Crescent adjustable wrenches are still made in the USA, some aren't, but I'm pretty sure you can still get these. All right, while I'm here, let's take a look. Klein has put out a USA 250 commemorative set of tools. This is the screwdrivers. As you can see, it says USA 250, established 1776 on the back. You get a flathead, a Phillips, and a square number 2, I believe. Yeah, number 2 square, number 2 Phillips, and a 1/4-inch flat. It says right there. And they also have some diagonal cutters with the American flag and the 250 USA, and it's got red, white, and blue handles, Klein tools, and they have a set of lineman's pliers. I don't know, I'll probably take these out of the package because tools are meant to be used, right? So I'm looking all over the shop trying to find all my USA made stuff, and I ran across these. A pair of scissors made by Fiskars. Trying to see, it says stainless there, but if you look right there on the handle, it says USA. I don't know if it can focus on that, but found some USA made scissors in the shop, which I thought was pretty cool. And of course, channel lock. Now, not everything made by Channel Lock, I don't think, is made in the USA, but I do know their eponymous pliers are. It says right there, made in USA. Not sure if you can read it with the glare, but take my word for it. It does say these are the 460s. That's the second to the biggest pair I think they make. If you're looking for something else, something a little different from Channel Lock, you can get this set of picks. I think I got these at Tractor Supply, but these are made in USA. If you look carefully, there's a flag molded into it, and it says USA there. So it's a nice little pick set. Unlike my Milwaukee and my Icon picks, these are very sturdy. They do not bend. So if you need something, some good firm picks, those will be your choice. And they're made in the USA. All right, of course, I think everybody knows these. Snap-on ratchets, like most Snap-on hand tools, are made in the USA. I do not recommend you buying them directly from Snap-on or from a Snap-on dealer. Try to get them secondhand because they really are not worth the price. They're great ratchets. I think they're the best ratchets on the market. But for $200, you can get this same ratchet made by Harbor Freight, the exact same ratchet. I mean, the parts are interchangeable. The Icon brand, you can get that same ratchet for about $140 less. So unless you have a great deal on it, I would skip the Snap-on, even though they're made in USA. I wish we had more made in USA tools, and I wish Snap-on would charge a reasonable price for them. Now, not all Klein screwdrivers are made in USA. The manual, these regular screwdrivers are. These came in a set. I think it's like 40, 50 bucks for the set. You get, what, 8 screwdrivers? Yep, 7. I can't count today. It is that hot out here. But, yeah, that's a great set of screwdrivers. Speaking of screwdrivers, moving on, we've got Milwaukee. Milwaukee has recently started making hand tools in the USA. I think these came out last year, maybe the year before. But let me get a big one. Yeah, there we go. It says USA right there. Molded right into it. They also make a bunch of pliers, mostly for electricians. Here's a set of lineman's pliers. You can see it says USA right there. It is a really good set. It's not sticky. They open easily. All of the tools, these diagonal cutters, they've got some flush cutters and some needle nose. All great. They have a hole in the handle if you want to put a lanyard on them in case you're working up a pole or something, don't want to drop them. Great set of pliers. I highly recommend them. And they run about the same as the Kleins. So if you prefer the Kleins, get the Kleins. They're made in USA, but now Milwaukee has something to compete with that. Down here on the end, we have Estwing. I'm sure you know Estwing for their hammers. I don't have any hammers. I don't use a lot of hammers. I'm not a carpenter. But I do have a lot of woods, and their hatchets and axes do come in handy. I've sharpened these pretty good. I think I can cut some paper with it. Not too bad, right? For a hatchet, well, that kind of tore. Let's see. I mean, it's not a knife, it is a hatchet. But it does slice pretty good. For a hatchet, that is. But anyway, that's the hatchet. And then this one is the small axe. All the Estwing products are USA made. So if you're looking for a good hatchet or a good axe or a hammer, those are all good options and they're reasonably priced. Now, here's one that a lot of you may not know. Dewalt does make some power tools in the USA. Says it right there. Now, it does say made in USA with global materials. I think that's what it says. Yeah, so they do get some of the stuff from out of the country, but they do assemble them in the United States. The batteries are assembled in Mexico, and I believe, yeah, the cells in them come from Korea. So the batteries are not USA made. They are Mexican assembled out of Korean parts, but some of the tools and the ones that are, this is the only one I own that is made in USA. I own a lot of Dewalt, but that's the only one. But they do have a line of tools that are made in the USA. Maglite. I'm sure we all know Maglite, right? Maglite are still made in the USA. And I don't know if you saw my oil change on the Tundra video. Tundras are made in the USA, by the way. This was the filter wrench for that. And as you can see, it's made by Motive X Tools. It's got the flag there. It is made in the USA. So that's a selection of, if you want to buy USA made tools, obviously there's a lot more that are made. But on this 4th of July, let's think about buying American, get ourselves some USA made tools. And my flag was made in America too. Stay tuned. We're going to go check on the corn. And once the corn update's done, I've got a little bonus feature for you. So don't go away. And don't forget to subscribe, guys. Be right back. Okay, guys, as you can see, here we are back in the corn. It has grown a lot. I think the last time I measured it was just was Father's Day. What was that, like 2 weeks ago? And it was probably about here. It's grown another 18 inches or so. I'm gonna measure the one out here. Oh, I'm using my Stanley Fat Max. See the American flag, made in USA. Now, Stanley just recently shut down their Connecticut plant that made tape measures. So you're still gonna be able to find, for a while, American-made Stanley Fat Max tape measures on the shelf. So if you want one, go out and get one, because they won't be available much longer. They're offshoring it to Thailand, because apparently, I guess, Thailand makes better tape measures than we do. So let's see here. Last time it was barely, the tallest one was barely 6 feet. Out here they were about 5'4" on the edge. And right now, to the top of the tassel is 7 feet 4 inches. 7'4". I didn't set that up. That is legitimately where it's measuring. 7 feet 4 inches, July 4th. That's awesome. Now I'm gonna go a little deeper in and see what I can find. Okay, that one right there looks pretty dang tall. From the ground all the way to the top of the tassel, that is 8 feet 2 inches tall. 2.5 actually. So if Shaq was here, he would be a full foot shorter than this corn stalk. Pretty impressive. So since our last corn inspection, which I think I said was about, what, 2 weeks ago, it has grown a good 2 feet. It was right at 6 feet back then. So I've gotten 2 feet, but not only that, we've got ears growing. Look at that. Right here, that is an ear of corn starting to bud. You see the little tassels there? Do you guys know that corn stalks only produce 1 ear of corn? So when you're driving by a field, every corn stalk represents 1 ear. So there you go. There's a little corn. They're all blondes. That's why corn is dumb. No, that's a silly joke. Don't get upset. All right, guys, that is the corn update. We are going to break it short. We're going to bag it up, and we are going to go back inside. See you there. Well, guys, it's gotten so hot out here on the 4th of July that I sweated through my shirt, and I had to change both my shirt and my hat. But luckily, I've got my American flag hat for the 4th of July, so everything is good. It's kind of funny, all those Europeans with their silly little soccer tournament running around America marveling at our air conditioning. Apparently, my shop is more European than I thought, because it's hot. But anyway, there's one last area where America still, the United States still kind of excels. We still have a thriving knife making industry. Most of the knives that I own, the knives that I like to collect, are made in the USA. So let's take, for instance, this Zero Tolerance. Neat little flipper. Let's see, yep, you can see it, hopefully. I'll be able to show it. It says it right there. Can you read it? Made in USA. Pretty cool little knife. I have a similar one. This one comes in a fancy case. It's also made in the USA. Take my word for it. It says it right there. But that's the tiger stripe. So Zero Tolerance makes their knives here, as does, I believe they're in some way related, Kershaw. I'm not sure if Kershaw owns them or not, but Kershaw knives are also USA made. It even has an American flag kind of stenciled right there on the blade, and underneath it over here, let's see, on the Kershaw, it says USA. So those are kind of some cool options if you're into pocket knives. Another one, of course, Benchmade. Benchmade. Where does it say it? I don't think Benchmade actually says it. I think they're just so well known as being American made, they don't even print it on the knife, but take my word for that one. Benchmade is made in the USA. We talked about the K-Bar, one of America's they were started, I think, in the 60s. I'm not sure, but Buck. Here's the Buck 110, probably the first pocket knife a lot of you Gen Xers ever owned. See, does it say? Yeah, right there at the bottom, under the 110. I'm trying to get it so you can read it without a glare. Well, how about that? Will it focus? Not that many of you care. Probably lost a lot of you by now. There we go. Buck 110 USA right there. So I've got a whole video coming out on the Buck 110 soon. So check that out. Another good brand. I don't know if you've heard of ProTech, but it even says USA right there on the case. This particular one, it's got a skull that is not any kind of political imagery. It's just a skull. It's also automatic, which is pretty cool. So if you're looking for American made automatic, check out ProTech. Now when it comes to multi-tools, Gerber, their multi-tools are made in the USA. This is an older one. This is one I carried when I was in the National Guard. You either carried a Leatherman or a Gerber. And I carried both the Gerber and the Buck 110 on my belt when I was an infantryman. So these are both great tools, both USA made. If you don't have a Gerber multi-tool, you need to check them out. Leatherman, all Leathermans are made in the USA. This one, I think, this one is a Surge. So that is a cool multi-tool. I'll be doing some videos on multi-tools coming up soon, but just know if you want a USA made Leatherman. Now, Leatherman no longer ships sheaths or pocket sheaths, pocket holsters with their multi-tools. I bought, I think it was this one, and it came in a box that said sheath included. This one is a rebar. This is one of the smaller ones. I got it using, I think, Cabela's points. It's a cool little tool. I don't think these actually say USA on them anywhere, but they do on the box. But if you look it up, all Leathermen are made in, I think it's Portland, as are Gerber, strangely. All of them made in the USA, except for the sheath. The sheath is made in China. Maybe that's why they stopped shipping them with the sheath. But on the box, it said it came with a sheath. I called them and complained, and they sent me a sheath. They said that was a mistake. They no longer ship with the sheaths, so it must have been an old box. Now, SOG has moved most of their production over to China. But if you get the Power Lock series, see where it says Power Lock, some of their higher-end multi-tools, they are made in USA. Their sheaths probably aren't, it doesn't say, but I've carried the SOG. This is my daily carry multi-tool. I love it. But all of these are great. If you are looking for some American-made tools or knives, those are some great choices. They haven't provided me any of these. These are all my personal knives. I wish they would send me some free ones, but we're not quite there yet on the channel. But where we are is 250 years of the United States of America. Happy birthday. Thank you, Thomas Jefferson, for the Declaration of Independence and all the forefathers for the Constitution, which we love so much today. Thanks, Betsy Ross, for this glorious flag. This isn't the exact one you made. Yours was a circle, and it had a lot fewer stars. So we've grown a little bit in the last 250 years. So with that, I want to wish you all you guys a happy 4th of July. I've got cheeseburgers and apple pie to eat, and hopefully you do too. I'm going to go grab some of that and maybe have a nice cold beer since it is 102 degrees right now and I'm sweating. But anyway, thanks for joining me, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. I love having you come back every couple days and see one of my silly videos. I thank you for sticking with me, and I hope you tell your friends, share my videos, join the team. Can't wait to see what the next 250 years bring. God bless America. Ramble on.